Hey guys, welcome back. This is TheKillerNacho again, and I have a match here with Furret4Uberz, which is totally awesome because he shares my love for Furret. This is actually a team that I'm using my 6 favorite Pokemon in, so I decided just for something special. This team just consists of my 6 favorite Pokemon of all time, and that's pretty awesome. So anyway, he leads with Rotom-w, and normally Dustbuster's like tricks. This is like a lead, and then it tricks stuff. But you know, Rotom-w is usually scarfed, at least when it's used as a lead, but this one actually isn't. I go out into my Tentacles, which is Cradily, and Cradily is a pretty awesome wall. And one of my, I said it was my favorite wall. Now it's not quite as powerful as it could be outside the Sandstorm. But it's still a pretty darn awesome wall. I mean, it doesn't have as much special defense, but it can still do stuff, as you can see in this battle. And if I didn't mention, this battle is probably the longest battle I've probably had on YouTube, like, ever. But anyway, so I was able to break out of the confusion and set up the Toxic on the Rotom, and that's pretty awesome because this is a Parafusion Rotom, which is pretty annoying by getting the paralysis and then confusion on things, so it has very low chance to actually do anything. I'm going to set up a Curse, I believe, just because I can. And now he's going to switch out into his Heatran. Sorry, he goes out into Bronzong here. And I'm confused, I hurt myself, and that's not good. The only attacking move I have on this guy is Rock Slide, and I obviously can't Toxic Bronzong, so I'm going to switch. I go out into Dustbuster because I know that I still have my Choice Scarf that I can trick onto something, but I'm still kind of afraid because I saw Heatran on his team, and that might be Scarfed. I don't want to, like, trick and then, like, trick a Scarf onto another Scarfer, so instead I go for the Focus Punch, which is pretty nice because I kind of figured Bronzong would either like switch out or not do an attacking move. So I end up getting some nice damage on the Rotom-w, and I'm going to switch now because I'm afraid it's going to hurt me. So I go out into my Tentacles, and he is, I think, going to set up the confusion again. No, he goes to the Hydro Pump, and that does decent damage. Actually, it does quite a lot, which is bad for my Cradily. Luckily for me, like, if I had the Sandstorm up, that wouldn't do nearly as much, but actually a Hydro Pump from Rotom-w is pretty darn powerful, so that's still saying a lot. So now he's going to set up the confusion, and that's just kind of annoying. I think I go for a Recover, but I don't get it off. Do I? Nope, I don't. I was going for a Recover there because I kind of don't want to get, like, 2-hit KO'd by Hydro Pump, so yeah, that's life. But I'm going to stay in. I just want to heal health back because, you know, I need Cradily to be as healthy as possible, and he really can't stay in with Rotom-w because the Toxic's starting to rack up major damage. Anyway, so now he goes out into this pre-evolved form of Garbodor. I don't remember its name. It's like I don't know. But it's the pre-evolution of Garbodor. I don't really know why I know he has the Evolite Stone, that's probably why he's running it, but I don't understand. I think Garbodor would probably be a better choice, but to each their own. He has the Evolite Stone, he actually has Stockpile, which raises his defense and special defense both by 1, so including the Evolite Stone, this thing's defenses are already pretty scary. I go out in a Dustbuster to trick at a Scarf because I really don't want this guy to, you know, set up stuff, and I don't even know what it does, honestly. It might be a Toxic Staller, I'm not sure. I just don't want it to exist. So I go out into my Dustbuster, and I'm going to try to trick at a Scarf. He predicts that pretty nicely, goes out into Rotom-w, so I'm going to get the trick on Rotom-w. It's not like the best thing I could have tricked, but it's not so bad. I give him the Scarf, and I get his leftovers, and at least now he's not going to get leftovers recovery on Rotom-w, so that thing's going to be dead pretty fast because of his Toxic. But I'm going to switch out here. I don't really want to take a Hydro Pump, obviously, so I go out into Cradily, and he is going to indeed go for the Hydro Pump. It hits me, and it's going to do some decent damage once again, but I don't have the confusion up, and I just want to heal, obviously. And I know that Rotom-w is going to die eventually. He ends up going for the Hydro Pump, trying to KO, and he does not. So that was nice survive for me, except I get Parahaxed, and that sucks. At least the Rotom is going to die, but I kind of expect to be revenge killed, basically, because I have paralyzed Cradily. He's not going to outspeed anything, and he's probably just going to kill me with whatever. He goes out on a Heatran, though, and subs. I guess he was predicting my switch, but I really had no reason to switch there, except for maybe use Cradily as death fodder. But I get the Recover off, which was great for me, because now I'm back to above half health, which means Cradily can do some more walling, guys. and that's pretty awesome. But anyway, I don't know what this guy's going to do. I decided just to try to break his sub with a Rock Slide. He ends up taunting me, so that's not bad at all. I just go for the Rock Slide, and I don't actually break the sub, so this is definitely some defensive heat ran. Actually, Furret4Uberz said this is his stall team. And it is pretty annoying, and that's probably why this battle lasted so freaking long, as you can probably tell by the amount of time this video is. Oh well, so he goes for the Torment, which is a pretty nice move. It means, if you don't know what Torment does, it makes it so you can't use the same move twice, and because Rock Slide's my only attacking move and I'm taunted, he basically forced me to struggle, and I don't want that, so I have to switch. So I am going to switch out. I go out into Magikarp, which is actually a Gyarados. Magikarp's my favorite Pokemon, but I can't really use Magikarp on this team for obvious reasons. I mean, for one thing, I kind of require Smeargle to actually use, so I decided to use the next best thing. It's crappy pre-evolved form, and at least this one's red, so it kind of looks like Magikarp. But he's going to set up another sub. That's rather whatever. I'm just going to go for the Waterfall to break it. He'll probably either taunt or torment me here. I'm not really sure. His probably one attacking move is a fire type attack, so it probably wouldn't do a whole lot. He goes for a Torment, so I can't use Waterfall this turn, so instead I'm just going to go for a Dragon Dance just to set it up. If he switches, that's good for me. If he doesn't switch, then, he just gets up a sub, but I get a Dragon Dance, and I like that. But he goes out into Regice, and that's not bad because I have Stone Edge. Now, I know this guy can sometimes carry Thunderbolt, and sometimes it can carry, like, T-Wave. I don't know really what to do. I'm just kind of hoping I can kill with Stone Edge, but I miss, and that stinks. I, kind of wanted to taunt predicting T-Wave, but he ends up having the Thunderbolt, and that's just going to nearly kill me. And he actually even gets the Parahax, which kind of sucks, because now I'm not even able to, get off of Waterfall before I die. So that kind of blows, actually. I mean, getting the Parahax, and he's actually faster somehow. I mean, I thought Regice was pretty slow. I mean, I know that, Paralysis, I think, makes your speed, a quarter of what it's supposed to be, but even with the +1 speed, I thought I might be able to outspeed, but oh well, I don't. He gets the Parahax, which is retarded, but then I get a crit with U-turn on Scizor. I thought he'd actually switch here because I didn't think he would want his Regice to take a bullet punch, but he makes a pretty nice play, stays in. Unfortunately, I do get the crit. Fortunately for him, fortunately for me. I'm just going to U-turn into Cradily. Now, I know that I'm weak to Ice, but at the same time, I like my special defense, and I'm not sure Regice has so much natural special attack that it could still do a whole lot. He ends up just trying to Seismic Toss, which is not terrible because it does a 100 guaranteed damage. I'm just going to go for the Recover now because I don't want to die, obviously, to a unfortunate Parahax. You know what I mean. But, yeah, that's life. He's going to go for a Seismic Toss, and that's going to do 100 damage. I go for a Curse, because I guess when I set it up, I mean, originally I didn't know how I wanted to kill this Regice. I mean, I could Toxic it, or I could try to, Rock Slide it. But how's it's going right now, I just don't want to risk, getting Parahaxed when I need to go Recover. So I'm just going to try to go Recover this turn, so, I don't risk it as much. I end up getting Parahaxed this turn, so that's, not bad for me. As long as I don't get Parahax twice in a row, I should get my health back. And Leftovers Recovery actually is helping here, because after a few, I think 4 or 5 Leftovers Recovery, I can survive another one, so whatever. I don't get Parahax this time, get the Recover off, and that's pretty awesome for me. And I think here I'm going to go for the Toxic, because this guy is starting to get up there from his own Leftovers Recovery. He's back in green health, so I decide I'm just going to set up the Toxic so he, really can't stay in very long. But then he ends up going for the Calm Mind, and I'm actually pretty scared of this, knowing that this guy, probably has Ice Beam and Thunderbolt. But I did set up the Toxic, so that's not terrible, because this thing is going to be taking some major damage in a few turns. Anyway, I don't think he's going to attack me quite yet. I'm going to go for another Curse. He ends up going for another Calm Mind, so he is +2 special attack now, and I am really not looking forward to taking an Ice Beam. I just go for a Curse, and at this point, I think he might start attacking me at +2 special attack with Ice Beam, so I decide to go for the Recover. I do go second, so it's not good if he doesn't go for that, because then I only get a quarter recovery for a turn, and he ends up not attacking me, instead going for a third Calm Mind, I believe. I think this is third, and I get the Recover to my full HP. But I really don't want to risk it. I'm just going to keep going for Recover to try to Toxic stall him, because right now the Toxic is already at pretty high level. I mean, take a look how much this does. This does quite a lot to Regice. He has 2 more turns if I had to guess. But anyway, he goes for an Ice Beam. It's super effective, and at like +3 special attack, it kills me because of a crit. I don't know if that crit really mattered, but it's still kind of annoying because I lose my Cradily to a crit again, because it always seems to happen, but whatever. Oh well, I go out into my Dustbuster. He's at low enough that I think that I can KO him with Body Slam, and I do, because Furret is so freaking cute. Dustbuster, I love Dustbuster. One of my favorite Pokemons, obviously, because this is the team of my favorite Pokemons. Scizor isn't actually on my background on my profile. I did use Scizor. That's supposed to represent my favorite type, which is Bug. But the other 5 on my team are the 5 Pokemon on my profile background, I guess except for Magikarp, too, because Magikarp is actually a Gyarados in this video, but whatever. Oh well, so he goes out into Gliscor, and yeah, I was trying to trick to get rid of his Toxic Orb. Maybe I can, like, trick the Toxic Orb to something else on his team to, like, steal the leftovers. I mean, I don't really care at this point if Furret gets poisoned. I just didn't want to deal with a Poison Heal Gliscor, and unfortunately for me, he does Protect, so he gets his thing up, and that sucks. And then he flings a Toxic Orb when I go out into Politoed, and my Politoed is Toxic Poisoned, and that's just not good. He's going to Protect to burn a turn of Toxic, so now I'm starting to take more damage than I'm healing, and that's bad. But I just want to keep going for the Scald because I just want to, like, do damage to this Gliscor. He ends up going out into Bronzong, though, and, yeah, I get the Scald off on that, which isn't, like, the worst thing to get a Scald off on. And I even get the Burn, which is just kind of funny. I mean, I don't really know if it really matters because Bronzong doesn't have a whole lot of attack anyway, but it's kind of nice to get a Burn because that's consistent damage and it lowers his attack. But I do want to switch now because that Toxic's starting to do more damage than I'm comfortable with. I want to save Politoed for later, maybe to deal with Gliscor. So I'm just going to go out into Scizor to take pretty much anything that this Bronzong wants to do. He goes for a Payback, and being burned, and being that I resist this, and being that he didn't take damage this turn, Payback does absolutely nothing. And that's pretty sweet. So I'm going to go for the U-turn, I think, because U-turn is neutral against this guy and still stabbed. I was kind of hoping it would take it out, including the burn, but it doesn't look that way. Because he still gets leftovers recovery. So now I go out into Dustbuster. Just because I don't know what he's going to do, I feel okay in Dustbuster. Just, you know, he ends up taking the sleep, which isn't bad, because looking at his team, I don't really need Dustbuster at this point, and I need just something to be sleep fodder, so that's not so bad. Anyway, so he's 1 turn away from death. I decide just to stay in Dustbuster and go for a Focus Punch. I think I just hit any button, because I know I couldn't possibly wake up that turn, and I end up hitting Focus Punch, which looks really weird. I can still, apparently Furret can still tighten its focus when it's asleep, and that's pretty pro, and that's why Furret is awesome. That's one of the reasons Furret's awesome, alright? That's, because he can tighten. How many of you guys can tighten your focus in your sleep? Furret can. Damn straight. Alright, so here he goes back into his little trash bag thing, and I'm going to go out into my Scizor, and he's going to stockpile, and I just go into Scizor because I don't know what this guy's going to do. I kind of think this might be a Toxic Staller, and he can't Toxic a Steel type. I'm going to go for a Bullet Punch because it's my strongest move, and I was kind of hoping it might be a 2-hit KO, but it's not. And he gets a second stockpile off, so his defenses are going to insane levels. I'm going to Bullet Punch again. I don't think this guy has, reliable healing. He ends up going for the rest. So that's not really reliable healing, because obviously he has to waste 2 turns. But I don't think I can 3-hit KO him at this point, so that's kind of bad. But I figure, you know what? I don't think this guy can really threaten Scizor at all. And eventually I'm bound to get a crit with Bullet Punch. Bullet Punch has more than enough PP. You know, that I'd get a crit eventually. So I decide just to stay in, waiting for something to happen. He wakes up this turn, goes for another stockpile, but he's not going to be able to live another Bullet Punch. I don't know whether it did more than he thought he would. It would do, or maybe he just realized that he wasn't going to do anything with this trash bag thing, so he goes down, and that's not bad. Anyway, he goes out into Gliscor now, and this is his last dude. No, sorry. No, he has 2 dudes left, Gliscor and Heatran. And he's going to just go Acrobatics, and that's, you know, going to get damage on Scizor. I know I don't need Scizor for anything anymore. I just want to get as much damage on this Gliscor as possible with Scizor, just to get damage on Gliscor, because once it gets low enough, I don't think it'll be much of a problem for my entire team to take out. And I go out into my last Pokemon, which is my sexy lady, Mismagius, who is completely sexy. He's going to go now for the Protect, which I predicted and went for the Calm Mind. I thought he'd go Protect just to raise his HP. It's a pretty obvious play. And I get a +1 special attack, so I am able to go for a Shadow Ball here, I was hoping I would KO it because Gliscor's special defense isn't that great usually. Most of the time, they're physically bulky, and I end up getting a crit and killing him. I don't know if that crit mattered. If it did, I'm sorry, whatever. I don't think an Acrobatics would have killed me anyway, so there you go. He goes out into Heatran, which is his last Pokemon. I do have the Hidden Power Fighting, which is super effective, and it looks to be about a 2-hit KO. His only attacking move probably is Fire, and I do have the Sun up with +1. I do have the Rain up with +1 special defense, so there's not a whole lot this Heatran can do to me, and I am able to get the 2-hit KO with Hidden Power Fighting for the win. So this was a fun match. I got to use all 6 of my favorite Pokemon, which is really awesome, actually. I just kind of did this. This team really isn't supposed to have much synergy. It kind of does, but not really. there's some severe weaknesses to this team, but it was just for fun, just to do something exciting on YouTube, kind of different. And Furret4Uberz is a pretty awesome guy. He's pretty nice. If you go to the TPX chat, he's always like the guy who's going to be like, hey, I'd like to make you a avatar for free. He's a pretty nice guy, and he likes Furret. He shares my love for Furret, so that's why I accepted his challenge for the most part. But yeah, today's question of the day is, since I used a team of my favorite Pokemon, what is your favorite Pokemon? My favorite Pokemon is Magikarp, because it's awesome. And I always loved Magikarp, and I always thought it was cool. Just because it's like, no one expects it to be good, but it is. I know I didn't technically use Magikarp in this battle. I technically used his evolved form, but you can't really use Magikarp without a way to make it awesome. And I really didn't have a way to do that on this team, so sorry, guys. Anyway, rate, comment, subscribe, and see you guys later. Bye. Oh, and like, too. Yeah, that's good.